All right, there it is. So, uh, everybody, welcome to the interview for Alternator Records. We have a special guest that released a single on Friday, this past Friday, and it's one of the newer releases for Alternator Records. Jeremy, go ahead and introduce yourself and let people know what your new single is and what you're up to.
So, what's up, everybody? I'm Jeremy Sutherland, and I'm a new artist with Alternator Records. We just released a single for Baby Talk to Me. So, my first single with them. We've got more in the works, but we dropped a music video as well as the single, which you can check out on Alternator Records YouTube channel, uh, as well as in other various locations with my social media and all that. I can throw out there
Okay.
whenever you want me to.
Yeah. So is this going to be on the major streaming platforms as well?
Yeah, it is. So it's on Spotify, Apple Music, and then just a ton of other streaming platforms. And you can also buy it on iTunes if you want to pay some money, put a little bit of money into my pocket.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey guys, go to the iTunes. Go to the what's the other big one here? With Jay-Z, Tidal. They pay the
Yeah,
best when it
title.
comes to streaming. So make
Gotcha.
sure
Yeah,
y'all hit that up. I would play it here, but for copyright reasons, we obviously,
sure.
we don't want to get this dinged. So fantastic. So how are you feeling about uh doing your own thing? Let me actually back that up. So how
Sure.
long have you been doing music?
So I've been doing music, discovered that I could actually do more. So I've been playing guitar since I was 16 years old. I was influenced by, I was a big metalhead back in high school, and that's basically where my influence came from. I was inspired. I'm a huge Metallica fan. They're like my favorite band.
Hey,
Um, and
hey.
that inspired me to pick up the guitar. And then James Hetfield inspired me to start singing because I loved his growl and just the kind of the aggressiveness of his voice. And then I got into a bunch of other kinds of music as far as that goes. But it wasn't until years later that I actually discovered that I could play guitar and sing at the same time. And
Mm,
I just never challenged myself to do it. And so there was a point where I did that. And then the next step was I kind of discovered that I had my own ideas and I could kind of put things together a little bit. And I started writing music and working, with somebody. Um, it was back in 2009, I think, is when I wrote my first song. It was actually a song that I wrote. Uh, it was cheesy as hell. It's never going to see the light of day, but um, it was called "This Girl Is Mine," and it was a song that I wrote for my wife for Valentine's Day, and it's terrible. It's really, really cheesy, but
I'm sure
um,
that it's sure it's good, man.
oh, it's terrible. I promise you, I should go back in and rewrite. Like the ideas were sound, I think, but
Yeah.
just the execution is not there. Um, but the person that I was working with and writing with, and who I still write with to this day, and who I've been in with a couple of bands, um, we discovered that we worked well together and we could write. And he's an extremely talented uh, song composer, and he's the one that basically taught me the ropes. Like I didn't have rhythm. I didn't know what beats per minute were. I didn't know any of that stuff. I had no timing. And I learned all of that stuff from him. And I mean, it's only been, what is it? It's 2023, right? So
Yeah.
14 years. Yeah, 14 years because Valentine's Day 2009.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Man, so you've had quite the journey, it sounds like.
Yeah. I've written a number of songs for, and again, it's always been in the hard rock, uh, kind of alternative rock, progressive rock style. But I've always loved, music in the, like Justin Timberlake. I mean, I've always loved his
Oh,
music. And
one of my favorites, man.
yeah, dude. So I've always dug that kind of stuff, but I've just never, I don't know, I've just never had the either the confidence or just the skill to sing in that style, like working on my falsetto and stuff
Yeah.
over the last number of years, and actually even being able to introduce that more into the hard rock music and stuff that I do because it's something that I love to challenge myself and not just, sing in just a certain key, so there's certain challenges that come along with that, but you also want to be listenable and accessible and sing something that people can sing along with and not
Right.
throw all these crazy loops and challenges and vocal loops and stuff into it, um pirouettes and all of these things, which again I grew up like Maynard from Tool. He was another influence
Ooh.
because of the way that he sings and his vocals just go all over the place, and so he was a huge influence with doing that more challenging vocal style. But I've learned that people they can't grab onto that. They need something that they can just kind of sing straightforward. And so when I met Michael James, and I was actually working with him with um, Stone Prophet, who's my current band, hard rock band, and so he was doing some mixes for us, and he heard something in my voice that he thought could transcend just what I was doing.
Mm,
And one thing led to another, and we just started kind of writing together, and um, that's where Baby Talk to Me came from.
nice.
That was actually the first song that we wrote together.
Nice. That's a fantastic story. I
Thanks,
want to
man.
give it up for Michael James because he's a freaking Jedi.
Yeah, he
So
is. He's rad.
he sees things in people that they necessarily don't see themselves, and most of the time he's right. And so I
Yeah.
can relate to that part there. So the recording process with Baby Talk to Me, how'd that come about? Like, what was that experience like? How'd that transform?
So that song actually started out. We were he was approached to see if he could write something that was in this specific style, um, to sell to. It wasn't through sync licensing, but it was something like that,
Mhm.
where it was somebody who would be using that track in the end credits of a TV show, but they wanted it to kind of have the personality of a specific song that they liked from, I think it was back in the 80s. And so he approached me. He said, "Hey, what would you think about working on this with me? And let's see what we can cut together." And so we wrote that song, and it wasn't quite. We didn't stick to the blueprints because we wanted to get more creative with it, and it just kind of morphed into this song that this Baby Talk to Me. It
Mm.
started out called Into the River, and there was just so we kept some of the lyrics from that, but it had a completely different sentiment. And it was over a number of, I'd say, months that we were kind of fleshing it out and kind of hammering it out. But I have a home studio here that's not even remotely as badass as Michael James' studio.
The
It's a huge
Jedi of
studio, right?
studios.
Yeah, dude, his studio, which by the way, your studio is sick too. I saw it in
I appreciate it.
more detail on YouTube video, but
Yeah, thanks,
I
man.
aspire to, get something, and you got the clouds up on the
Yeah,
ceiling and stuff, dude. It's dope.
I appreciate that.
But anyway, yeah, it basically came together over a couple of months, and then we just continued working together after that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice, yeah. So, from here, where are you going? What are you pursuing after this? Do you have anything in mind, where you're trying to maybe branch out? Because you said earlier, kinda like how Justin Timberlake's is more, of an inspiration as well, and you wanna challenge yourself to do that? Like, is that something that's on the horizon as well?
So what I'm wanting to do with the solo artist side of myself is basically write anything that inspires me or inspires somebody else. So I'm it's kind of weird. I'm not trying to stick to a specific genre. So the next uh the next single that will be coming out, a number of months from now is a completely different side of the same
Oh, nice.
thing that you're hearing from Baby Talk to Me, but
Nice.
there's a little bit more of a bluesy tone to the
Uh,
vocal that I'm doing in that. And so, and I there's a bunch of influences, obviously, um, Justin Timberlake is, one of the goats, but there's freaking, I love kind of bluesy rock, um, folk music, you
mm,
know, um, uh, Poor Man's Poison. They're an
mm,
amazing band. Um, Sean James is a huge influence
mm.
on kind of the way that I'm looking to go, uh, because it's basically just him and his guitar, and I
Yeah.
really love that kind of sing-songy kind of approach. And I mean, I'm writing all the time. I have all kinds of ideas. It's just a matter of getting, you know, getting the time to finish those things up. But yeah, I don't have a way to really categorize exactly where I want to go with the solo artist side of it.
Yeah.
On the flip side, I've got Stone Prophet, which is, you hear that music, it's obviously rock. It's obviously
Mm,
hard rock music, and there's a definite style, and there's a definite itch that's scratching, and there's definite therapy in that side of it. It's definitely darker subject matter. I'm the one that writes the majority of the lyrics, and they kind of come from whatever's in my head at that point. And like I said, it's you would probably agree with this. Music is therapy. It feels to me like the best form of therapy.
oh, absolutely. I do music as often as I can because I've made tracks uh, that were 3 years old, even a week old, and it was how I was feeling at that time, and I had to get that energy out of me, and I hear it, and it's dope, and I know I'm like I will probably never make that same style of track or maybe that those choices again because that's who I was at that moment. I've
Yeah,
completely grown as a person. So my ideas are different, my approaches are different. It's still nice, but I'm just a different person. So it's funny you say that. I usually if I go a period of time without seeing someone,
hmm,
let's just say 2 years, I feel like I have to almost reintroduce myself to them because I'm a new version of who I previously was. I've went through a
gotcha.
lot. So
Yeah, that makes
I think
perfect
our
sense.
music does that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so, you sound like a soulful guy, purist. When you say, who your inspirations are,
Hmm.
who, like, aspires you to do what you do, a purist. So I think that's fantastic. One of if I go into the bluesy section, I have a special heart in my place for or a special place in my heart for BB King. Like,
Oh, absolutely, man.
yeah, man. He's definitely one of the goats.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
I met him, and when I used to do another job, I met him in real life, and he
Oh, that's
kind of gave me
killer.
some advice that changed my life. So I was like, all right,
Really?
yeah, yeah. He just kind of told me, hey, listen, if this is what you want to do, you got to go after it. Make the decision, and if this is what you want to do for the rest of your life, then you spend the rest of your natural life going after it with such curiosity that no one can stop you. And I was like,
That's
all right.
killer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
So
that's that's
shout out
great
to BB
advice,
King.
especially hearing that directly from BB King.
Yeah,
I
yeah, absolutely.
love that.
So kind of switching gears here. Um, music industry talk.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot, and I want to get your take on this. So there is music is changing. I'm not sure if you've kept up with what's happening with the Drake vocals and the weekend vocals with the AI. So apparently there is a ghostwriter who used to ghostwrite for a lot of folks who is using AI that can mimic people's voices and their cadence and their style. And he's writing the lyrics and it's spitting it out in their version. And sounds exactly like Drake and The Weeknd. And he put a track out. And you would think the fan base cared, but they didn't. And it blew up everywhere on TikTok, Spotify, had a couple million streams, kept going, and then he took it down. Right. He took it down because the labels were pressuring him, XYZ, which makes sense.
Sure.
So my question to you is, with AI coming here, I guess, in a sense, where do you see the music industry going, and what is your take on it?
Man, that's a heady question.
Yeah,
And I've been keeping an eye on AI for quite a bit since the whole AI art thing came out last year because
your journey.
my actual day job is a graphic designer, and so it's
Oh, it's nice.
it's a big thing to I look at it as a tool. I know there's a lot of people that are fearful of it. I'm not fearful of it because I think that ultimately it can just make us better.
Yeah,
But I do, when it comes to being able to reproduce someone's voice and to reproduce it so convincingly that you don't know the difference, which means that it's actually putting the passion and the soulfulness of that person's voice into the music. I think I have a bit of an issue with that.
I do too.
Yeah, I mean, if there's something original, um, if there's something original that comes out of it, and they're not an actual artist, an existing living artist, um, then by all means, I suppose. I'm trying to think of the name of the band that I saw recently. It's a super heavy metal song that was written completely by AI that
Mm,
was put out on YouTube recently, like within the last couple of weeks. I saw it, vocals and all, and you would have absolutely no idea. But
right.
the way that they trained the AI was responsible. They had studio musicians who came in and vocalists that came in and specifically sang things to train this AI to then have the AI go in and write the music based off of what it was trained off of,
Dang.
which is a responsible way to do it.
Yeah,
These other people that are taking Drake in the weekend and using their actual voices and training it on, I think that's irresponsible because
yeah,
they have no right to that. They have no right to that. That's not their
absolutely.
voice.
Yeah,
So I'm split on it for sure. It just
I
depends on what the use of it is.
I'm where you're at. I'm split on it, and I also agree that um, AI is something that we should embrace because it's like the internet. And when our parents, their parents, missed out on the internet because maybe they thought it was a trend or something, and they missed out on opportunity.
Right.
Now, and AI is that. That's where we are, the forefront of something spawning the new internet. And basically, my whole take on it is that I think there's a good side, and I also think there's a bad side. So when people say, "Hey, is AI going to take our jobs?" Yes and no. So I think it's the people that learn how to use AI and use it effectively. Those are the ones and that are going to create different jobs
Yeah.
and create it to be more efficient at currently maybe a McDonald's worker job. Let's just say something like
Sure.
that. So I think the person that has the mind to learn how to use AI is the one that they're
Absolutely.
going to be on the forefront. Just kind of like the folks that learn how to use the internet. Look at where they are now, creating e-commerce, XYZ, connectivity, iPhones, etc.
For
Um,
sure.
as far as the Drake and Weekend thing, I totally agree with you. I think that you don't have a right to do that, but I feel like that also spawned a solution. And I say this, and I don't know if this is just kind of learning AI and tinkering with ideas. I think when you have a problem like that, that immediately puts humans into this solution mode. Okay, how can
Right.
we fix this? What do we need to do? And I feel like blockchain technology is going to take a big step forward with verifying things that are um, original, the original works,
Mhm.
and the algorithms that are going to be layered upon that blockchain technology to verify this. I hope
Right.
I'm not getting too nerdy here.
No, man.
Um, yeah, okay, awesome. So I think that is going to mint some sort of service to where things are going to become an NFT instantly as soon as you create them vocal wise. So whether it's an idea, whether it's a patent idea, whether it's a song snippet, anything of that nature, um, will be will be verified almost instantly, right?
Right.
And so when you hear it or when it gets released to the public, you will also have maybe another wall or another service that will verify, like, oh, this is from Drake, or this is from The Weeknd, or hey, this is from a random user using AI. So then we know immediately, and then there won't be any recourse to that. So if they are using those folks' voices, they're going to have to, it's either going to get shut down immediately or they're going to have to get permission immediately.
Yeah.
And I feel that's what's going to happen here.
Yeah, and I don't know a lot about blockchain, but I from what I do know, it looks like the way that they're moving forward with that is a responsible way to do that in order
Mhm.
to, give credit to whoever it is that deserves to have that credit. And I
Yeah.
I think just with the AI, the thing that it just needs to be responsible.
Yes.
Whoever is behind it needs to be responsible, put things in place. Like with Chat GPT, there's I've been seeing stuff on both sides as far as not doing it the responsible way. Um, and then there's other people that, that are pro Chat GPT. And I mean, I've used Chat GPT in it, at my work. I've used Chat GPT to come up with um, ad copy and slogans and stuff, or at
Same.
least to get an idea or to write a script for an ad, or just all these things, man.
It's pretty
It's
cool.
pretty freaking amazing. And
Yeah, and it's a time saver.
oh, it's a huge time saver. And that's what
Yeah.
I was going to say. If we can just use this stuff as a tool to cut out the menial tasks that we have to do, like if I can have, if I have to cut out 100 images, and it takes me, a few hours to do that in Photoshop, or they have it now, and I can just use this program to batch produce and cut out, 100 images using AI in a matter of minutes. Why would I not? It's going to give me that
Exactly.
much more time to focus on the creative, artistic side of it. And so
Yeah.
if that comes over to the music side as well, and I know I'm not familiar with all of the AI stuff within music yet, as far as like, in your DAW and stuff like that. I'm sure there's probably stuff that exists now
There are a couple.
for that,
Yep.
but
Mhm.
anything that can cut down the time on the menial tasks of mixing that song and putting that song together, and just allowing you to focus more on the creative side of it. Because if I'm putting together something, I'll tell you right now, I suck at putting drums together. Like,
Mhm.
just, because I use Logic, and so I'll use Superior Drummer 3,
Oh,
and
fantastic.
it
Yeah.
just takes me forever to put the drums together. Fortunately, I don't have to do that because we have an amazing drummer in Stone Prophet. But if I'm just trying to put things together, it just takes me forever. But if there was AI that could, just put something together for you really quick, and I guess as I understand it, there is kind
Yeah,
of that.
Captain Beats. There's a couple. Captain Beats, you even got Captain Chords, you got XO, and those things are absolutely incredible. I've used them. And
Okay.
um and this is where I guess the community is kind of split because instead of being more on the efficient side, it kind of cuts into the creativity. But I think it once again it comes down to the user. How do you use it? Is it
Yeah.
something that helps an idea? Is it something that sparks an idea? Or are you leaning on it 100%? Right.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I've used it to spark ideas. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. Here, let me get in this type of timing or let me use this type of rhythm and then you build off of that.
Right.
But there are some folks that are using it just for whatever it spits out, to be able to just make a song off of it. And this comes from more of the newer folks that are getting in production. They're more like artist focused, so they don't
Mhm.
really know how to produce records, but they have an idea, and so they use that as an idea, and they might come to a producer like myself or yourself here and be like, "Hey, can you make this better?" Right?
Right.
So I get that, and I think that's fantastic. I just think we're in an age also to where when DAWs first came out and people were on consoles, they're like, "Well, that's silly. Why would we want to do that?" Now it's almost hard to imagine music without a DAW,
Yeah.
and I think that's kind of where we are with AI. We're just figuring it out.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's I was gonna say, when I'm editing the drums and stuff, and all I want to do is get this idea out, and then I just get frustrated because I'm spending so much time on that I kind of lose the inspiration,
Yeah.
and I'm like, eh, I don't know, I'm not feeling it anymore, and I just shut
Yeah.
down the computer and I go and do something else. So I want that, eliminate that stuff and make it as easy and seamless as possible for creatives to be able to do that. Musicians to sit down and lay down a tasty lick without having to think about all of these other things. And yeah,
Right.
I definitely know that there's stuff out there. I really need to look into it because I
Yeah,
think
man.
it'll make me
After the
happy.
interview, I'll text you. I'll shoot you some links to some stuff because
Appreciate
there's
it,
a
man.
lot out there. Um,
Sweet.
Creating melodies and things of that nature. But now some of it's not good.
Okay.
I'll be honest, some of it sounds super robotic, and it's like, okay, I can tell this is AI. And then there's a couple that are like, man, that's pretty freaking sweet. So
Wow.
I feel like the playing field for people to get into music is being even more leveled now.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the creative minds that really come to the forefront. Who's going to be the most creative? How do you translate what you're feeling inside and
Hmm.
get that out for the world to hear? I guess that's been music the whole time. We just now
Sure.
have these tools, like you said, that are making it easier for us to convey our message as a human to other humans in
Absolutely.
a digital space and an analog space, and I think that's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so with that being said, um, Imma switch gears here again. Um, if you were on a desert island and you could only take, like, 3 albums with you, uh, what are you taking?
Um, it's really funny that you're asking me that because my little brother just asked me that like
Heyo.
a couple of months ago, and I
Alright.
could not answer his question.
It's a tough
There's
question.
so much. So, I mean, it would definitely have to be music that I could sing along to. I really think that I would probably take um, one of Sean James' albums.
Okay.
Um, I was obsessed with him last year. Like I would just listen and like every day on my commute to work, I would put on his music and I would just sing along to it the entire drive into work, and then I would do the same on the way home. It was my most listened to artist last year,
Your
and
Spotify wrap
I
up?
actually just discovered him last year, and
Nice.
not even half of the year in. Like I discovered him around it was like May or something, and yeah, I mean I listened to a ton of music, so yeah, I listened to him a ton. So I would definitely take. Um, I can't say what album though, because I listened to it on shuffle, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But so I would take him. Um, man, this is such a hard question. I love so
I
much.
know.
I love so much music. I love so much music. Um, I would take Master of Puppets from Metallica.
Ooh, let's go. Yeah.
Yeah, because you gotta have some of that aggression going on.
Yeah.
That's that's probably my favorite Metallica album. And then, oh man, don't even know. Um, should have prepped me for this question. I'm really, really bad at making split-second decisions.
This is how I know you're a music purist, man. I'm the same
Dude,
way. I'm like, how much time do you have?
I
Like,
know. I'm just going through. Well, and then there's like there's video game music that I freaking love.
oh, what? Did
Because
we
I'm a
not touch that? Oh,
oh man,
whoa.
I'm a big gamer. Oh, and
Same here.
I saw on your Spotify you had you did a Final Fantasy 7
Yeah, one of
tune,
the
which is
best
dope.
OSTs of all time, in my
Yes,
opinion. Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
But I grew up on it was Final Fantasy 3 in the
yes.
States, and then they changed it over to it's actually Final Fantasy 6.
Yep,
Oh man. See, if we
yep.
start talking video game stuff, I'll just nerd out completely.
Oh man, we're talking that I Persona
Uh,
5. They have one of the best soundtracks for a game
oh,
music ever. Persona 5 is fantastic.
I still need to finish that. I've got to the second dungeon in
Okay,
that. But dude, that music is so cool. But
so good.
there's one part where it's just super repetitive. The dun 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 dun, dun when they're in
Dun,
the
boom,
when they're in the
boom,
overworld,
boom, 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 boom,
yeah, when he's like
boom.
wander around the town
Yeah.
or whatever, that music it grates on my nerves just a little bit because it's a little too repetitive for me, but all the other stuff in that is amazing.
So
And the
weird
art,
thing about that game,
yeah,
that part, once you progress in the game, they start giving you the whole song. It opens up into a whole song. So what you're
really,
hearing is the beginning, the guy playing the keys, and then they bring in the rest of the band, and it's a dope song, man.
really,
Yeah.
dude, yeah, I definitely need to jump back into that. I started playing it when it came. I'm an Xbox guy, but I also have I'm a gamer, so I have all of them. I got a PS5 and Xbox. I got a Switch,
Same.
and so there's no like console allegiance or whatever, but I just prefer the controller on the Xbox. And so when that
Yep.
game, because I actually did pick it up on the PS5 when it came out, but it was or no PS4. Was it the
PS4.
PS4?
Yep.
It was PS4 when that came out, huh?
Yep.
That's right. And I've just never liked the PlayStation controller as soon as I discovered, the Xbox controller when they
Xbox 360
figured it out with
controller
the
was the best to
360.
me.
With
Yes.
360 was by far the best
Yes.
controller, man. We could totally geek out on game
Absolutely.
chat. That's awesome.
Awesome,
Um
man. Um,
yeah.
yeah. What's your socials? Shout it out. Let the people know where they can find you.
So let's see. My Instagram is JT so it's JTSUTH. Um my TikTok, you can search Jeremy's music, and that's Jeremy with an apostrophe because I guess there's someone else that doesn't have the apostrophe.
Okay.
Um, and it's actually Jeremy Sutherland 05. You can find it that way. And then on Facebook, it's Jeremy Sutherland 77.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome. Man, this has been fantastic.
yeah, it's
Uh
been fun.
appreciate you coming out and doing this. And what I'm gonna do with your desert island, we're gonna start a playlist and we're gonna put like your recommendations into this playlist so people can come and just kind of catch the vibes.
That sounds dope, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey
Yeah,
brother, thank you for coming out. We really do appreciate it. And this won't be the last one because I know you have new music coming and we'll talk to you soon.
sounds good, man.
All right,
Thanks,
brother.
Touchstone.
Later.
Later, bro.
All right, man. So I'm gonna cut it at that. But yeah,
Okay.
bro, we got about 3 minutes left because I'm using the free version. But bro, I didn't
Okay.
know you were a game nerd. That's what
Dude,
I'm
I'm
talking
such a
about.
game nerd. Like
Dude.
it's bad. I was gonna say then when Persona came to Game Pass, that's when I
Oh
really
yeah.
jumped into it. And then dude, my problem is there's so much choice. Like I was telling you, I'm so bad at like, just choosing one thing and being able to stick with that. And
Hmm.
with gaming, especially with subscription services and everything, there's too much stuff to play, and so I kind of bounce around unless
Same.
I'm like really super committed to a game. It's rare that I'll actually finish a game.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, dude, my backlog is so it's so
Tell
embarrassing.
me
It's
about it.
just So bad.
Dude, I've completed a couple games. That's like the whole Dark Knight series, the Batman series. I completed that. The Spider-Man
Mm.
series, I completed that. Ghost of Tsushima was freaking amazing.
And that's
Gosh.
another one I have to finish.
Oh man.
I've got really super far in it, and then and it's one of those things where so I started that on the PS4, and then I picked it up again on the PS5. Started playing it again on the PS5, and I got pretty far into it, and then I just something else caught my eye, and
Yep.
I go in another direction. But
That's
the
how I'm
ones
with
that go ahead.
right now. I'm like that with Hogwarts Legacy. The PSVR came out and Gran Turismo 7
Oh, you
is,
picked it up,
oh my god,
man. I've
dude.
got a MetaQuest 2, um, and then I saw that the PSVR 2 was coming out, and I have the original PSVR. Um, I'm I'm waiting for the price to drop a little
Yeah.
bit
Yeah,
because it's
cuz I got both.
550 is just
Yeah,
a little
it's
too
it's a
rich.
PlayStation. It's the price of a PlayStation. Actually, it's a little bit more than a PlayStation. Is it
Hmm.
dope? Is it better than the
Oh, dude,
PSVR one?
I'm hearing
Way
all
better.
kinds of amazing, like the graphics
Dude,
and just the immersion of it and
you
everything
forget.
just sounds
So
sick.
I got the headphones that go in it, and you tend to forget like there's a real world behind you. So what I do is I turn my fan on to keep me entrenched in the real world because if I don't, bro, you're gone. It's crazy, especially like in Gran Turismo when you're driving, the lighting, the way it shines in and just hits your face. It's pretty dope, man.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna pick it up at some
Yeah.
point
Yeah,
because I'm
cool, man.
big
Uh
gamer, dude.
we got like 30 seconds left. So I'm gonna end this. I'm gonna
Okay,
bounce it out. I'll cut this up and this should be up in a couple days.
I appreciate it, brother. It was good talking to you.
You as well, man. Thank you.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Later.
Later.